Hi again. Let's now take a look at the EIGRP topology table. So this isn't the routing table, but the topology table. It does look similar because you've got codes as you would in the routing table. However, in the routing table, if you're using EIGRP as the routing protocol, you'll see a D for dual, whereas in the topology table, it gets a little more specific, and here we have a P, which stands for passive. The other thing you might see is an A for active, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So this is the topology table. You get to it by typing in show IP EIGRP topology. So let's focus in on one of the entries here, and we can talk about what it means. So here's one of the entries in the topology table. So what this is showing you here is two things. It's showing you, first of all, the highlighted entry is the successor route. Remember, the successor is the neighbor, the next hop of the least cost loop-free path. So it's the best choice. It's where you want to go when the router is routing its packet. So after the word via, this is the IP address of the successor. Now this number here, this first number in the brackets, that's the feasible distance. So that's the least cost path. That's the amount of effort it's going to take to get the packet to the destination. This other number here, that's the reported distance. So that's actually the feasible distance of the successor. So once the packet gets to the next hop, that's his feasible distance. And then finally, this is the exit interface that the packet needs to go out. So the first line here is the successor route. Now what happens if that successor goes down? If the link to that route goes down, or if there's something wrong with the router itself? Well, then we need to find the runner-up, the feasible successor. This second line here, if there is one, there's not always a feasible successor available, but if there is a feasible successor, it shows as a second line, and the IP address of it is also after the word via. So if by chance the successor is unavailable, then we go to the feasible successor. So that's the IP address of the feasible successor, that's the feasible distance, and then that's the reported distance if you were to go. So if you were to use the feasible successor, if you were to use this guy as the next hop, then that would be the overall feasible distance, and that would be the distance once you get, that would be the distance of the feasible successor. So once the packet gets to the next hop, then that's his feasible distance. And this is the interface that it's going out of. So the top line after the word via is the successor, and the one underneath is the feasible successor, so the second choice. There's not always a second choice. If there is no feasible successor available and the successor goes down for some reason, if the link to the successor goes down, then at that point, dual will need to recalculate. So that's when this P is going to turn to an A. The P stands for passive, which means that everything is great, it's all hunky-dory, and business will continue as usual. If you see an A here in the topology table, then that means that dual is actively trying to configure a route, whether it's a successor route or a feasible successor route.